President Trump fired back at critics who claimed that merely meeting with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un would be a major concession. The president tweeted, "Wow, we haven't given up anything." Meanwhile, Kim recently announced he's suspending missile and nuclear tests. Let's discuss the meeting's prospects for success with Time Magazine foreign affairs columnist Ian Bremmer. His new book, Us versus Them, The Failure of Globalism. I have my copy tabbed, Ian.
Thank you.
Comes out tomorrow. Look, you can tell I'm still in my mind in law school. I actually have yellow tabs on your book.
I appreciate that.
Ian, it's great to have you on. This really is, I think with all the investigation mania going on and all the daily, food fight we see in Washington, this could be an unbelievable development. And there's a lot of ifs. But for the president not to get even a modicum of praise or respect for the fact that we're at least taking a different approach to North Korea with all the predictions of global unrest and he's going to start World War III. This is something. This is quite something.
Trump clearly deserves credit on this. I mean, it was the fact that he was willing to push hard that brought the Chinese to the table, supporting U.S.-driven Security Council resolutions and squeezing them on sanctions. That concerned the North Koreans. It got them to show up at the Olympics. It got them to be willing to engage with the South Koreans. The Chinese have summits that they had never had before, and also agree to suspend missile testing and nuclear testing without offering anything from the United States. Now, we have offered them a summit. They want that. It provides legitimacy. But if you ask who's done more bending so far, the North Koreans or the United States, it's clearly the North Koreans. That's very far from saying we're going to get to denuclearization on the part of Pyongyang, but absolutely there's more of a chance that we see a breakthrough today than there was 6 months ago.
Now, you made an interesting tweet. You sent an interesting tweet about the Nobel Peace Prize. Tell us.
Well, only the fact that if it were true that Trump was able to actually not only get the North Koreans to the table, but come to a resolution that actually got us away from nuclear missiles pointing at each other, that he'd deserve a Nobel much more than Obama did when he got at the beginning when he came in and didn't do anything. I mean, it's a politicized prize. We've known that for a long time. I do believe that there's more of a chance that we end up blowing each other up, but I also think there's more of a chance that we get to a real resolution. And I think people need to understand that that so far on North Korea, the signs have been more positive than negative.
Yeah, I mean, for the madman theory or whoever it was, they're calling him Rocket Man. And I mean, the Democrats, let's just play a few of these sound bites. The Democrats have gone absolutely bonkers leading up to this announcement about the summit. And I think we have some of the elements. Let's watch.
One of the things we've discovered about this new president is he has no clue about how to deal with foreign matters. He's dangerous, and he should not be talking with this kind of bluster. And I'm hopeful that somebody at the White House will pull his coat and tell him to stop it. This is not the way to lead this country.
He is doing none of the things necessary to achieve a real diplomatic breakthrough on North Korea.
This is a mess that North Korea has created, but President Trump has made it more difficult to deal with.
Ian.
Look, he's made mistakes on foreign policy. North Korea so far is not one of them. Again, we've had both a Democratic and a Republican president over the course of the last decade that's allowed the North Korean situation to only get worse. More nuclear capabilities, more missile capabilities, more cyber capabilities. Finally, we get the Chinese to the table. We get the North Koreans to the table. On balance, since Trump has come in, despite the fact that he doesn't have foreign policy experience, we have more opportunities with the North Koreans than we had before.
Ian, I want to talk about your book, which I've been able to read bunches of. You grew up in Chelsea, Massachusetts, and you talked about how in Chelsea, it was, a middle-class area, and how people now, like many parts of the country before Trump, I think especially, people are angry because they feel like no longer is it just hard work and an education, and you're guaranteed to get ahead. The globalization people feel has failed them. Worried more about other countries than it did what was going on here at home. Tell us.
Well, I wish it was a middle-class background. That would have been aspirational. It was the projects. It was a working-class background, and there were no globalists. There were no capitalists that I grew up with because they had no capital. And I think the reason why so many people are willing to vote against the establishment in the United States is because they feel like both on economics, on culture, on security, on technology, on every issue that the establishment left and right has been talking about, that they've been left behind. And I've seen a lot of people over the last year and a half been willing to blame Trump for the us versus them that we are facing right now as a country, when in reality, us versus them is responsible for Trump.
Take a lot, 20 years for us versus them, 25 years, I'd say. The book is Us versus Them. Ian, come on radio this week.
Sure.
Really interesting read. We really appreciate it.